Hey, what's up, outies and innies, and welcome to a Nerdy Bunch weekly review for Apple TV series Severance. My name's Dave, and joining me because he's a team player and team players get marshmallows, my co-host Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, David?
We're here to talk Severance episode 4.
Correct, season 2.
Season 2, episode 4. Andrew, this episode could be seen by many as, in the TV vernacular, a side story.
Yeah.
Right? Especially where we left off last week, that kind of cliffhanger.
Yeah, I can't believe they did that.
However, there's still interesting things to be found in this episode because I think it's an episode that reminds us that, yes, there's the storyline of the main characters, but there's a lot at play here. What do you think of this episode, spoiler-free?
You're right. There's a lot of lineage that needs to be remembered. It started off slow and it ended on such a high for me, like most of this show. And when I say slow, I just mean, the way this show is layered, it's not always like a direct continuation from the previous episode. So they're just, throwing you for a loop essentially. But honestly, by the end, some of my favorite moments of this whole show definitely were in this episode, which I think is a highlight to just, the acting, the portrayal, they're really selling the story because these guys are they're really portraying some very abstract stuff, right? So I feel like I have to commend them being able to still keep me captivated because by the end I really enjoyed the episode, honestly, especially with all of the kind of I feel like we're getting a lot more kind of pushing the story forward, but also more detail about, like you said, the larger world other than these are our main characters. So yeah, long story short, let's spoil it, but I'm enjoying this.
All right, well, let's go straight into spoilers. There's a lot of things that happen in this episode. A lot of revelations, a lot of information. But Andrew, what stood out to you the most, and what do you want to start talking about first?
We can't start with the sweetest part. I mean, come on, do it, Seth. Just do it, Seth. Just do it, Seth.
Just do it, Seth.
Right,
I feel like we have to start there because that confirmation informs a lot of what happens this episode.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like you get the full context of, okay, you understand when they slept together, what does that mean?
What if she gets pregnant? What happens?
What does that mean?
Who has custody of the child?
What does that mean?
And then what about other Mark and other Helly? Are they now interconnected?
What does that all mean? These are the questions that get asked now, especially with the larger context. So how does it feel like the rest of the internet to be right? That wasn't Helly.
It's I like when I'm not gaslit by the world because I know my stuff, all right. I pay attention to the best of my ability sometimes. But even just the whole scene leading up to it, and I think you called it right, or you felt that Irving from the beginning, he was depressed, but he was like night gardener. The way he talks, I love it so much.
Like seriously, am I the only one that's hearing this? Right? Like I'm not the only one just hearing how ridiculous that sounds, right? Like I know you're giving oogly eyes at each other.
Yeah, but
like
come on.
Like
gardening at night. Like she could have said anything else, honestly. Like the food delivery guy. I ordered some food. It's like, but anyways, and just the leading up, because one thing about this show, which is good and also positively stressful, is there's just so many. Like when I watch like recap videos, there's so many things that I missed of like connections and like little tidbits here and there. So what I'm trying to bring up is apparently, because Irving usually says was like "Hey kid" to her, "Hey kid" to Helly, and she had a different response, but this time she didn't, and that's when he was like by the tree, and then he just slowly peeled out. It's like so creepy, but like this is the one time it's allowed because it's like, yeah, that isn't her, get her out of there. So yeah, the tension with Irving, because Why did he sleep on the floor, first of all, outside?
I thought he was gonna die.
Me too.
I thought Irving is dead. We're gonna wake up in the morning and Irving is dead, frozen to death.
Especially like the what seal question mark that they
Yes,
found.
yes.
I was like,
That he
yeah,
wanted
same
to
thing.
eat.
They hadn't even been walking for that long. I was like, bro, you're not already gonna eat a carcass of what you do not even know what it is. Like, calm down, calm down. Oh, he's so funny. But there was something. What was I saying? Yeah, just that scene with him confronting Helly. He just 0 to 100 real quick, because I definitely didn't see him dunking her head. But I mean that'll do it. That'll do it.
I mean, he called her bluff, right? He
Pooh.
knew he had conviction. He had that dream, and he
Mhm.
was like, "Nope,
Yeah.
I know it. I know it to my core."
Yeah.
And like you said, I think what's great about this show and the acting on display and the writing
Mhm.
is that this was never meant, especially when you look at it in hindsight, this was never meant as a secret for the audience,
No.
right? Because it's telegraphed. If you're paying attention, there's little moments,
Yeah.
and I think they do some great acting where it's like she is Helena pretending to be Helly, who's a part of Helena.
Yeah. Which
Like
is
that kind of
crazy. It's like 3 in 1
that
in that
layer.
thing.
And thing is, but you see it. There's a subtleness that you see. We spoke about it last week when she was hesitant around Mark, right? I feel like Helly would have gone for the kiss
Yeah.
straight away,
Or said
right?
something just more
Or said something.
bold.
And especially because, we've all been in various relationships in our lifetime. When you've had that first kiss already happen, the second kiss is nothing.
Yeah.
Once you kind of broke that seal of having that kind of first moment of
Yeah.
tension and you had that first kiss, you don't feel that again in
Yeah.
the second kiss. It's still exciting, but you're not apprehensive anymore.
No.
Right. So we spoke about last week that the two of them alone in that moment, she would have been like, yeah, let's kiss. As
Yeah.
opposed to like, we know that's a version of
Shy.
Henry, which is more shy and things like that. And yeah, let's stick with Irv for a second. He does a good job of kind of acting unhinged, mixed with kind of Helly's acting. There was a moment where I was like, did we get it wrong? Is she actually Helly? Is she just, I had a moment where I was like, is she just embarrassed to say that she's part of the family and that's why she lied?
Well,
Right? Just for a small moment, just a brief moment. But then when he started, I was like, no, of his convictions and he's just drowning and drowning. Here's my question to you. Do you think Seth knew, or was her calling him Seth his realization?
ooh, that's a good question. Do you know I hadn't even considered that? Because I still haven't placed Seth's importance to the organization as a whole, right? Because one thing this show has done is not introduce us to too many individuals, right, or personnel, especially because I don't even think the board is real. It's a fax machine.
AI, you said it.
It's a fax machine, bro, somewhere.
It's a toaster.
No, literally, like a smart fridge. But that would be interesting. I could see. I feel like he knew. Let me say that. Why do I feel like he knew? Actually, why would he know? Because I don't think they rate him enough for him to know what he doesn't need. The only reason I would think he knows is because in the event that like there's an emergency down there, or they're all acting up and they're about to, discipline them, they need to know that she's not she's not them, right? That's the only reason I feel like it'd be like a fail-safe. Hey, bro, it's me, but just pretend like it's not me. Other than that, it's possible that he didn't know, because maybe only Miss Cabell would have had
Because
that, like, high level of information or security clearance to find out that kind of thing.
and I only ask you, and this is going to segue a bit away from this review. We'll come back to it. But with Seth Milkshake, I find this whole thing interesting. What I love about this show is that it does a great balance of playing with this kind of larger than life sci-fi narrative, but still keep it contained within workplace corporate culture, right? The whole premise of this episode is the corporate retreat. We all know about the corporate retreat. Bring unison and
or both.
exactly. And again, one of the things they say is for kind of bringing them closer, but also obviously the secret is also underlining reason is to kind of remind them, you fight so much to go outside. This is what outside looks like. It sucks. It's cold.
Not to Dylan, right? Dylan was like, wow.
Well,
Basically, no ceilings, Lil Wayne, if you know,
which is
you
a
know.
nice touch because if you remember last season, he was the only one that didn't go outside. Right? Exactly.
The-
So I like that kind of reminder of his excitement because everyone
yeah.
else had already been out
Ma-
before.
Quick micro question there though. Like, so wait, the Audis walked all the way to that place, or did it? Like, I
I
need,
guess
huh?
so. I
Like,
guess so. I get
damn.
logistics. They all started except for Helly. They all started on the ice.
Yeah. Did
Right.
you see
Right.
her? You know, they all like woke up when she was there pretending, like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, guys,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
where
I was
are
there.
we?
And I guess that's probably answers the question of if Seth knew because he probably knew where she was. But I think also the reason why I'm not sure if Seth knew or not is that I really believe that for him this was a team building exercise.
Yeah.
Right. Like he was legit upset
Yeah.
when they all started laughing at the story and kind of not taking this whole thing seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody gets any marshmallows. Like because if we look at his storyline from his point of view, right, he just got this promotion. Right.
Yeah.
And the reason he got the promotion is because the person above him got fired.
Yeah. Not because he deserved it, but he
Right,
wants to
exactly.
prove that he deserves it.
And I feel that there's a part of him that does want to prove that he can do the job. He can get his people in line
Yeah.
and focused because there's been a lot of troublemaking
Yeah.
and it's his people. And he's kind of almost like taking on someone else's mess
Mm-hmm.
and he has to fix it. And because like I legit believe he was actually upset when he was just,
Yeah.
you guys go to bed. He was legit.
100%. Can I say I feel like I'd consider putting my hand in there for the marshmallows.
Oh no, so
No,
I thought somebody was going to do that.
no, I was gonna dip my hand in snow and then try and grab them like a SWAT.
Right. Oh, use something like
Like
yeah,
like
at least try.
anyways.
Anyways, actually, let's go to that moment where he tells the story. Right, we all the story of masturbation.
Yes.
All right,
Lineage being spilled.
he spilled his lineage upon the soil, and it's basically we learn about that there was a twin
Yeah.
Egan,
Mm-hmm.
which it's interesting because again we see throughout the episodes. Through the episodes, they have like twins pointing in directions, creepy twins. Or that visual, I couldn't tell if it's supposed to be robots or supposed to be clone or supposed to be, I don't know, but it's interesting.
Same, because it kind of felt like Westworld, like, you know, I don't know, synthetic android just without like cognitive functions, but it really was creepy.
And this idea of kind of this duality, right? The two brothers, the twin brothers, right? It's interesting to play with that idea. This is just a tangent with the severance procedure. It's almost creating a twin.
Yeah.
Right, it's two. It's just like a twin. So I wonder if that's where that came from. But what I want to go to is, if knowing that for sure that was Helena, if you look at her as a person and what she's doing here, this is a chance for her to kind of release what she's been suppressing a lot. Right? She gives me this idea of that person who grew up in this family, that you grew up in it, you have this, you kind of have this upbringing, not by choice, but because of the family you're born into. But she's had time to kind of think about it and realize a lot of this stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But she's wanted to laugh at it.
Yeah,
before.
but she could dare not.
Yeah, exactly.
In her regular life.
Exactly. But this is an opportunity to kind of like, this is absolutely,
It's like a mask.
Right, exactly. It's like someone who grew up in like super religious households. You know, you had a parent who was probably like a head in whatever religion that you are, right? And so you were brought up in certain things, but after a while you start to question certain things, but you were never allowed to question it. And to you, certain things were ridiculous. And this is her moment to kind of like point that out and say it out loud.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, wait, was that just a story of a guy masturbating?
Yeah, like really the
Like what? Which I think it's funny. But then again, when you look at the larger context of why that story is told in the first place, right? It can play on this idea of reminding them that if you don't follow the rules, if you don't follow the lineage, right? Egan calls everyone, all the employees, his children. You know, and it's almost like a form of control. If you try and do your own
kind of
thing,
creepy.
right? Exactly.
It becomes
If
creepy.
you do something out of the ordinary, I will kill my own brother to uphold this, which is where the tempers came from, right?
Yeah.
Killing his brothers, his temper, whoa. Right. Which is, again, let's talk about that. what I like about this show is that there's a larger mystery that we still don't
Mm,
understand about the Egan family.
mhm.
All right, what did you take out from this episode connected to that and woe and tempers and the core lumen of values and principles?
Yeah, I don't know because there's so many weird things about them that like I haven't forgotten last season. You know, we haven't spoken about it. Dylan with the whip with those nine things. Like you
Mhm.
know, there's something that they just kind of brushed by that oh they better come back and address because these Egans are weird. And the question
Right.
is how weird. And you know, just standing by like my overall kind of story guess is you know this whole thing is them trying to make a consciousness live on or bring back the dead, right, or just keep you alive.
Prolong life.
Exactly, essentially, immortality, you know, as
Mhm.
cliche as it is. um but I feel like I just don't know the because you know that they're lying about almost everything. Milkshake says this is the tallest waterfall in the world.
Whoa.
That is definitely not true.
Well, what's funny about that what I love about that moment is that it's not even a tall waterfall. So it's almost like, do you know that that's the tallest in the world? So it's underwhelming.
Yeah,
You can't even
come
be like,
on.
whoa. Right? Then, then how small is the medium-sized waterfall if that's the tallest in the
Exactly. So it's just like, you know, sometimes I can't specifically say what the lie is, but it's just like, you know, you guys are full of BS. And the question is how deep does the rabbit hole go?
world?
But again, with some guesses, like I feel like the board is just you know, Max, multiple AI versions of different Egans over
Mhm.
time or something. Like I just don't see them. I don't see them as having a lot of manpower, like a personnel. We haven't really seen many people. But one thing I do like about this show is the fact that, you know, they have a they're very like publicly known, right?
Yes.
It's a discourse that's being spoken about, kind of like X-Men and mutants. Like we're not hiding. Like this is part of this world. Everybody's aware. But then the question is just how deep does it go? Because I reading too much Reddit, and I was reading this theory about how Mark is an Egan, and like it blew my mind because I was like, what? Like how
Uh,
where? Anyways, I know that's for the end times. Just throwing it
uh,
out there for you,
I mean,
stargazers like me.
it's already hinted that the Egan family has incest built into it.
Hmm.
That's why Egan was always sick all the time. So it's not too crazy. Actually, I want to go
So,
back to the revelation, right? After revealing who she is, I love the moment of kind of like going for aggression to as soon as she gets Helly gets woken up again. I love us kind of nurturing side kicks back in, right? Like I'm sorry, you know, because he knows
yeah,
what happened. He knows what he had to do. He accepted his
yeah.
fate. Even Dylan was just like, damn, I should have listened to
Damn,
you.
I'm so sorry.
And that moment of you know setting up basically the death of Irv, right? And even Seth's speech of just
That's
like, no one
trumpet.
shall ever know, you know, that kind of speech. My question to you is, but is Irv's story over? Because there's a lot of questions. Because who was he talking to on the phone? Why is Bert following him? You know, what's the drawings all about? Essentially, we know the room that it's
Mm-hmm.
leading to, but why is he getting the drawing? This can't be the end of Irv's story, can it?
No, it can't. And even if it really could be, if they want to be the end of Irv Innie, right? Just for
Mhm.
like some proper weight, we may now only see Irv Audi, and maybe him and Bert cross paths, and that makes him because if I remember correctly, Irv Audi was already researching Lumen, right? Like he had
Yes.
maps with the
Yep.
different locations.
And he was
He's
calling someone we don't
yeah,
know.
keeping a list of things. So I don't think we know what happened to um, Irv Innie when he was in the outside world
No.
after he knocked on Bert's door. So they've definitely left some things in the gray area intentionally, and just the fact that like he keeps seeing this weird woman of woe and like the paintings, like I just feel like there's still a lot that can be done with his character, and that they can't just leave unaddressed, especially
Mhm.
when you know it's not that both Innie and Audi are dead. It's just like, and it's not even dead. It's more like, life imprisonment, right?
Mhm.
Because you're in prison, but by some odd chance you may come back to the world of the living. But technically we're not going to see you again, but we'll keep you in the back pocket. So if it was me, this was my show, this would be the end of Irv Innie, just because that, like, I like when, sorry if it sounds morbid, but when the death actually has like some punch, because he really did uncover a big thing, because Helly would have kept on gone pregnant by Mark, probably lived a different life, and Mark would have had no idea. And Dylan is just thinking about his Audi wife, so he's not even focused. So I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna say Irv Innie gone, but Irv Audi is gonna have kind of a lot more to happen. And just in closing, what would be funny, which I don't know if it's even possible, is if Irv Audi does reintegration.
Mm. Well, speaking of that, good segue. Thank you very much. Where last week's episode finishes with Mark going through reintegration, where is this episode set?
I thought I clicked the wrong episode. Let me be honest. I was like,
Because it's just because is it after? Because it has to be after, because Helly's reveal has happened.
yes,
But then Outie Mark wouldn't know that.
no. And so that
So
means that has it even worked yet?
that's what I'm saying. But could this episode have been set before that happened? Is what I'm saying. Could we
But
have been seeing
could
the events
it?
out of order? Does it still make sense?
Does it?
Does it not? Because I'm trying to remember. Because
That's a
this
good
could have been,
question. Does
because
it
the end
not?
of this could have ended and then they go back outside and then that's what happens.
And for all you know, if we're taking this path, that could be what makes Mark be like, yeah, I'm gonna reintegrate. Some weird ass shit going on, man.
Yeah.
I could see
Because
I
information,
could see that.
because the outies wouldn't know this whole event. All right, they wouldn't know what happened. Yes, the innies know that that hasn't been Helly, but once they get back to outside, they don't have to know that, right? Because we could have been getting things out. Because I only say this because I don't know that if Mark had both memories, I don't know that he would have slept with
Hell,
well, in his
hell,
mind, Helly.
yeah. No,
Though
he
he
would
does
not.
get that flash.
That's why they're
Remember,
messing with me. Yeah,
he sees Gemma for a split second.
and for the personal clarity.
So maybe,
I have to. After everything, he's like, wait.
or maybe there's a delay in like the thing happening, kicking in. I don't know.
That was like my initial vibe, just because this episode is purely after the last one. I was like, okay, it is after, and his reintegration, takes a little while, right? It's like, yeah, it's not instantaneous because it's a wavelength thing, and maybe your brain needs to reset. But it's just so odd because you're right. I almost feel like it's so obvious that they maybe want to throw us off, because the way that last episode ended and the way this one started, they don't seem, like I said, I thought maybe I pressed the wrong episode, right? It felt like
Yeah.
it felt like something else has happened and then this episode. So it would very much be an avenue for them to be like, I never told you this was after.
True,
That was
exactly.
interesting.
Any moments that you liked or things that we haven't talked about?
Let's see, what did I write down? I'm sure Dylan had some great lines as always.
Actually, question: what do you think? What does Dylan go mentally, like with Urban's sinning death? It seems to have affected him. Like, is he still? He's been keeping to himself secrets because of the benefit of getting to see his family.
Yeah.
Does he keep trusting Lumen that they have his best interests, or does he look at what happened to Urban and realize, let me not put all my eggs in that basket?
I feel like Dylan's an emotional guy, and I feel like he's gonna beat himself up about the Irv thing, maybe forever, right? So let's not forget this guy bit milkshakes. I remember. I can't I can't forget that. That's a strong sign of aggression. Um, but it's just I feel like he's definitely not gonna want to continue on with being Lumen's spy. But big but big but the just chance at connecting with this outside wife is still so tempting to him because
I think she's going to
I
push
think
it.
that's just maybe
So I think she's liking it too.
more than
You know?
her little dupe up there. And so
Yeah.
what like what I keep saying if I wrote a show like I'm a golden author, but it's more like I see a fun future where it's like we're starting to cross the lines where it's like actually can I sign up for my innie to take over from the Audi, right? Like that's the next level because that it's the opposite of what happens there. Just have somebody who works and let me always be outside. Okay, what if we find out that actually you're both better for the other task or even just like as a punishment? So that'd be interesting. And I think I could see her definitely falling in love and somehow finding a way for them to bring Dylan into the outside. And I feel like he would stick around as a spy to make that work, but definitely going to be beating himself up about the Earth thing. And that might be the only reason he starts to rebel.
We also found a new interesting tidbits, right? If you pay attention. We knew about the overtime contingency as a way for innies to be on the outside.
Correct.
But we learned about the Glasgow block. Right? Do you think that's going to come back?
And that's exactly the point I was bringing. I feel like, yeah, and because there's a Glasgow block, there must be like, I don't know, the reverse. I.e., being able to allow the innie to have, what is that, like total control. Okay, I guess the overtime contingency in my mind needed the two people, like the nukes. But I feel like, yes, you can get some sort of surgery or chip planted that blocks the the microchip that actually turns them. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how that actually starts to pan out because they're opening up the world of, like I said, crossover for us. Like I said, it's not touch the elevator. I guess I wonder if the elevator just has like a proximity
Yeah.
chip type
As you go
of
down.
thing, right? Yeah, almost like like the turnstiles, or when you get to a building just to go inside, like it's like, oh yeah, scan in, all right, switch chip. But otherwise, yeah, I can still control it remotely.
Just call. Someone can do it. Boom, straight away. Which again, was it someone from far? Was it someone from like space, or was it?
Is it Miss
Well,
Huang? That's
is
what I
it
was
Mrs.
wondering.
Huang?
Who did Seth call? Okay,
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
after himself now. Like, did he
Like
call Miss
how
Huang
far is that
or?
distance? I really like the opening sequence on the snow. The visual of that was great.
When Irving was alone, just in
Yeah.
the middle, just from afar, like.
Do you want me to come? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Going.
I'm actually
I,
gonna
I,
I'm gonna miss him.
I love subtle moments of reminding us that these are people who have limited view of the world. So when they're given their torches, the way Mark looks at the fire,
He's like, okay, it was like a caveman.
Who's this?
You know what I always find weird about that with this show, and I know it's weird to discuss such an abstract thing, but it's like, so their minds are like not like children, but they're like adults who who almost more like cavemen who can speak English. All right.
But I also think they are aware of things. They just
Yeah.
haven't seen or experienced it.
Yeah, so it's not like the silo thing where
No,
it's like birds,
we
what are
don't know.
birds?
Yeah.
Right?
No.
It's more like this is what this thing looks like.
Yeah. It's
Right?
like, I think the way the memory, because they'll have the memories of like, I know birds. So if they saw a bird for the first time, they recognize it as a bird.
It would
But just
trigger
they've
the
never seen,
brain.
yeah, it would trigger
Yeah.
it, be like, oh, that's a bird. So he probably knows fire, but has
Yeah.
never actually seen fire. All right.
Yeah.
And I think kind of like things like that where it's like there's certain things they know of, they just never actually experienced it for
Got to
themselves.
see it, yeah.
And that's probably part of the procedure, right? It's probably controlled information because there's probably a lot of
Yeah.
information they don't let on. What other thing? Oh, when Helly snaps at, or Helena snaps at Irv about, oh, he's just mad because he can't see Bert again. I was like, oof. Ugh. I was like, oh, she's definitely the fake one. For sure.
It's like you
Helen would
lying.
never stoop so low. That's like, damn,
No,
low blow.
that was yeah. I couldn't believe, but just on her. So one of my favorite scenes this episode as well, because she has visibly red hair, but when she was in the tent with Irv, the blue of the tent, like basically, it almost like cut out the red of her hair, so it looked like her hair was black, and she looked so sinister in that moment, right? I almost feel like that's for sure when Irv was like, "Nah, this isn't the energy I know. You stink. Smell like outside."
Speaking of those colors, they did a good job as well juxtaposing when her and Mark are having sex, and then Irv is going through his kind of moment outside.
Yeah,
He's in blue, they're in red, kind of
yeah.
back and forth, back and forth. I thought it was really good, which is why I thought they were going to kill him.
Like
I thought
blue
like
balls versus this is nuts.
passionate heat. I thought that's going to happen. I thought like Mark going to have this wonderful sexual moment and
Yeah.
and only to wake up and find out that Irv is dead because he
Okay.
didn't listen to him.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was like, I watched too much The Boys and the likes, because I mean, because you could like that's a cold place, but I guess those coats are pretty thick. I just had a pneumonia, but I'm happy. Maybe he didn't die that way.
Yes, because especially the way he lay down on the rock, I was like, his body's gonna be frozen.
Yeah,
Stuff like that, he is dying, and I realized that was a dream. I was like, this is a dying dream.
100%. Like who just dreams that?
Anything else? Is that gonna be a bigger thing that comes? Dita Egan? Are we gonna? Is that Dita Egan is a tease for? I read it as someone who's part of the family that didn't drink all the juice and they were a rebel to the family and they got killed for it. And this is what happens, right? Does Helena have a bit of Dita Eganness inside her? Is her relative, and is this kind of, or are there other people out there who are part of the family who kind of rebel against it? Is every Egan alive in this, or there's some Egans who are kind of against this, or will Helly be the first one? Because again, I see, even though she's kind of she was lying and doing all this stuff, I still believe there's a part of Helena that's kind of like rebellious to the family, as we've seen many times.
For sure. So I don't see her as evil, but I don't know that I might just be, like
But
someone rebelling against evil family doesn't make you not evil, but it doesn't make you good.
But also, it doesn't necessarily, just because she's rebelling against the family, doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be one that saves the day and overthrows and does the right thing. Yeah, but maybe she is, because I think obviously by the end of this story, I'm assuming Lumen will be ousted, or at least fully, stopped. Does that stop coming from the inside first?
It's so tricky because, okay, ousted, then what? And does every employee get reintegrated? Do you let people choose? Do they do a fight to the death in the elevator for who keeps the body? That'd be an interesting one, like celebrity death match, just in the elevator.
No, it's interesting because again, he also speaks of the larger, because we don't know the larger narrative. What is it actually that Lumen
At
does?
all? Like, what are they doing?
So-
Come on, explain to me, yo.
But I do see a future where, even though she's ousted, Helena becomes part of the team.
Yeah.
Or enemy of my enemy. She's not necessarily fully part of the team, but she's against. Right. I think she's tasted this freedom. I don't think she wants to go back.
Even if she's on the inner life, like, for how long is she going to want that? Like, I feel like after like max 2 weeks, you'll be like, what the f am I doing? I'm going home. Why am I here?
I liked Miss Huang playing the instrument known as the theremin.
Yo, that thing was weird. Like psychic piano.
Well, that sound, it's a very famous instrument in terms of, you've heard it a lot in a lot of old school sci-fi. It's a lot of Star Trek had that kind of weird warping sound. And what's cool about the use of it, outside of just being a cool, interesting instrument, is that it creates music by your hands manipulating wavelengths.
Waves. Just like the mind, man. It's all connected, man.
That was a nice little addition. I thought it was cool.
I see
Anything
them.
else?
I see them. No, that was it for me again. Like,
I
yeah,
think that's
just
it.
another solid episode. Plowing forward. I just really hope, not that I think they will, but to keep the show grounded and not make it seem like it's the most perfectest show in the world. I really hope that at the reveal at the end, I won't be disappointed. Or just I just want it all to connect in the way that it's flowing and not just feel like they spilled their lineage all on the floor. That's like that was the whole story.
No, I mean, this is also a show that has so many things and so many, I should say, plates spinning.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that mean? What does this mean? What does
Yeah,
this mean? What does this mean? What are the
which can be
goats? What is that?
hard. That can be hard sometimes when you have this many, like I said, abstract things happening
Yeah.
simultaneously. So I just hope that at the end it feels like, oh, and that's why, and that's why, and that's why. Gotcha. Not just
Uh,
like they had a random room full of goats.
right. Well, what do you nerdies think of the revelations of this episode? What theories do you have as to where this is all going? Find us on social media at The Nerdy Bunch. You can also find us on email, thenerdybunchpod@gmail.com. Check out some of our other podcasts. We have Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Also, Nerdy Sports Team of Tim and Scotty. They
Who?
will be doing, as we record this, they will be doing a review and overview of this past
Like
weekend's Super Bowl.
Kendrick Lamar show. Oh, sorry.
Yes, the Kendrick Lamar show
Yeah.
surrounded by some American football. Check out their thoughts on all of that. They should be out later this week. And if you have any thoughts on that as well, also send us a message on social media at The Nerdy Bunch. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, David.
My name's English Day. Oh, we're also doing Invincible. I forgot about that.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
check out Invincible Season 3. Excited to talk about that. But yes, my name is English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch review for Severance Season 2, Episode 4. And Andrew guesses marshmallows. And as always,
Keep it nerdy.
peace.